Well, if you're wondering what I'm doing home so early, there wasn't anything to do in the shop today. So I came home early, 10 o'clock, and took a nap. So I figured we get to some wing building and leave, where we left off last night. So let me do a quick rundown on how the lost foam system works and why it's far superior to any other building method. As I explained, let me get one of the templates. When you cut the foam wing, it's a perfect example of the wing because it's not sanded or whatever. It's symmetrical on both sides if you made your template correctly. So when you tack the wood on the foam guide that you've sectioned up and sand it perfectly to this shape, it has the correct angles on everything so that each joint fits perfectly. So now that we know that the representation of the rib is the exact negative of the positive in the negative, if that makes any sense, everything fits correctly. And in order to do this wing, I saw in the chat section yesterday, I didn't answer the question, so I'll answer it now. You have to shim the spar and the ribs up. So you notice under here there's a gap. Well, that's because there's a shim, the thickness of the sheeting under the shim, and it has to be under the leading edge as well at the front because that holds everything in parallel. Boy, hands are dirty. Let me wash my hands real quick. And they get much cleaner. When you're working with grease and steel all day, your hands get kind of wiped out. That's a burn mark right there from where I was welding aluminum yesterday, and that's through my glove. It got so hot it created a big old blister. Anyway, so now Hunt makes a triangle for each to hold up in between each one of these ribs. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. It's 6 to 1, half dozen the other. This one is at 90 degrees to the foam. Then I just eyeball the rest of them to make sure they're parallel. And believe it or not, your eye, or my eye anyway, is within a few thousandths. So we got to put a hole in this one. Oh, and I need a stiffener on this one too. Somehow I missed that one. Oh, I missed the two landing gear ribs too. So if I'm not at work, I might as well do something constructive. So we're back to putting the stiffeners in, and it's pretty important. Now on the landing gear ribs, it's not so critical because you got 16th inch plywood on there. But on these other ribs here, it's pretty important. So we need to poke some holes in this. And as I stated before, you can perimeter these out to a 1/4 inch or, ever how you like, sand them inside or whatever. I found that just at, these two holes and then connect the holes together is the fastest. And it gives you that there. So anyway, put that one back in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add the stiffeners to the plywood anyway. We're going to glue it on the plywood side. You know what? No, I'm not, because it would be a better bond when I put my 3/16 in there. So we'll leave it off the plywood side, because you're not going to crush that. It's plywood. So we'll go ahead and glue these in, and then we're going to attach the sheeting, leading edge sheeting, and I'm going to get this wing together. I need to make the shear web for the trailing edge. You have to box in that trailing edge, and those little pieces of 16th inch that stand upright back here. Oh, you know what else I forgot? Yeah, we're gonna have to make a few parts today. I need to put in the hinge, 3 hinge block pieces, the center ribs between these and the trailing edge. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 4 pieces. Let's do that right now. I'll get those made up before I glue them in there. And you wouldn't think that remember, it's in the details. See, there's a slot in the back of that. That's where a rib goes. So, and each one of these has its own slot, but they're all the same. I'm just going to take that and we'll make 4 ribs out of the same. 4 ribs out of the same piece. Like I said, we're not building a watch, so. But it is kind of important to put these pieces in. Remember, the wing that we're building is only as strong as the sum of the whole. basically, the way that I'm building these things is that even the dope is part of the structure, because the paper is not strong. It's the dope, the plastic. So you take this piece here and you set it inside here. Let's see, I've got this cut back. Oh, I already have my blocks in there. Good. Yep, I already have the blocks in there. That's good. Do we have them in the right spot? Let's see here. This is the inboard. So we need one here. I only need two in this one, because I've sanded those blocks, the hinge blocks, and put them where they go. So okay. And I'll show this on camera, the hinge blocks as well. So instead of that stiffener piece, or that extra rib there, I've sanded a hinge block to go in where that would go in 3. Goes right. I already have it marked here. So it's been so long since I built this that I didn't remember what I did. But I needed one here. And we're going to cut this back because I use 3/4 instead of 1 inch. So we need to cut that back a 1/16 from there. It's an awful tiny piece, but pretty important. So this little piece here gets fitted right here. Hard to show on camera. So I'll glue that in. I need to glue them hinge blocks in too. Yep, already had them fitted for that. I mean, I could put a little piece in there, but it's not worth it. We'll wait to get when I detail glue this. So I put that one, see, if you push right here, the sheeting is flexible, but if you push right here, it's not. So what you're doing is you're keeping that trailing edge suspended. Kind of important. So I need to make one more. Today's session is going to be longer than an hour. Might be a couple hours, and then I'll be back again tonight because I really need to get the hump on to get this ready for the nets. And the reason why I say to get it ready, that I have 5 airplanes I could fly at the nets this year, but I really want to fly something new. I flew one airplane 3 years in a row, or it has been 3 years in a row to the nets. I flew it twice, and Charles flew it once. I'm really trying to replace that airplane because the finish is long in the tooth. Still got 17 last year. Or no, I got 16 last year. And it still brought me to the top 20, but always strive for excellence. So we need to cut. Four people watching. I didn't figure there'd be a whole lot of watchers. Everybody would be at work, but or all the working crews at work. Why do these little things keep falling out of here? Yep, that feels right. Remember, if you use about this is how much weight you put on your airplane. You have to vacuum again. We don't need this anymore. Okay. So now, as I've stated, Bob uses a little square. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and make one of those just for general drill to show you how to do it. You just take a piece of balsa. You got a square to that edge, square to that edge. too narrow for complete 45, so we'll make a 30. And we'll even make it greater than 30. That way we have some length so we can hold on to it. We want that as the bottom. So you just made a little triangle. Make sure you put the 90-degree mark on it. And we'll hold it up to the rib. You're sighting down the line. Let me move this around. Maybe we better look over my shoulder instead of in front of me. There we go. So the ribs are already marked out in the cradle, the location of where they go. I see I got one off, but whatever. It'll be fine. And then just glue it. Anybody figure out how to get one of these snorkels to not plug up? You see, I eyeballed that in there straight, and it is straight. A little bit of tension on this. There we go. I bumped it a little. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, let's set this over here. Got too much crap up here. No room to work, lots of crap. Seems like number L2 is crooked a little bit, but it won't hurt anything. We'll see when I put the sheeting on it if it's going to be a problem, I'll move it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Because it's, I don't know, maybe. Have to make another L2 spacer. You guys get anything out of these movies? Or you just like watching me? The Bob Ross of sandpaper. There we go. You see it ribs in a twist now because I haven't got the bottom loose. But we'll get it moved. No problem. And even if I didn't move it, I don't think it would be that big a deal. You know, we're talking about a piece inside the wing that's off by 1/16 of an inch in position. I don't think it'd be relative to how the airplane flew. I'm going to have to unpin this thing out of the jig, turn it over to get the bottom. So let's continue on with the placement of the half ribs, and I'll take it up. I'm going to forego the square because every one of them that I eyeball has been square. I mean, that is what I do all day long, is look at stuff and make sure it's square. Only difference is instead of gluing, I weld it. The thing keeps moving on me. The audio any good? Hopefully. Yeah, that's better. Because I can't tell. I know I keep asking that, but if you ever did this, where you're that guy spinning the plates, you'd know why I ask. My finger got glued to the rib. There we go. Okay, I gotta take this out of the cradle so I can cut that rib loose and move it over 1/16 of an inch. I guess it got bumped or whatever. I built this thing 6 months ago. But if you, when you're doing these projects, if you stop at a point, if you just don't stop haphazardly, I guess you could. It's pretty easy to pick back up where you left off. Sometimes back in the day, I'd get, 6 projects going at a time. Now everybody remembers, or hopefully remembers, what that foam wing weighed. Anybody got to guess what this weighs? Let's see, we're moving number 2. There we go. Well, I just didn't want to move there. So now let's get it back where it belongs. And have to move number 3 too. Yep. Number 3 needs to be moved over. I probably could have left it where it was and not had the problem. So, shoot. I already had tack glued all this stuff. And you ask, why is this so important, the movement to the right spot? Well, that way the sheeting fits on perfectly. Everything is touching. Where it's supposed to. Might have to take a Dremel tool and knock the nose of that one off. No big deal. Hopefully I can find a standing disc easy. Okay. Man. I'd say it's time to put a new drum on, a new thing on my sanding thing here. Maybe I got another one in here. Yep. Normally, I don't like to have to adjust these things, but sometimes you just can't get away with it without adjusting. And it's not that big a deal. Take like 2 seconds to adjust it. It's because I did this over at John's instead of my house. I did it pretty quick, and you know, it's just not my stuff, so not a problem. So now, if you look here, there's a center line on all the ribs drawn in there, and there's a center line inside the sheeting. So what I do is I line it up on the center line on the leading edge and push it all the way down until it touches. Stop. And I'm glad I caught myself. We have to make the spar before I go any farther. I don't know why I was getting ahead of myself. And that spar is a 3/16 piece that goes between the ribs here. And the easy way to do this, now that I've cut this stupid thing, I guess we'll split it right there. The easy way to do this is before you put the sheeting on, you got to cut the pieces, but you don't glue them in. Because if you get any warps in the wing, these are the pieces that'll get the warps out for you. So that was one. And this is one. So this goes on like this. And I'll show you why it's easier to make these pieces before the sheeting goes on. You want to take these cords. Shit. You want to take and mark them from the inside the D. So we got the line there. These are so critical. These need to be more or less perfect. Of course, everything needs to be perfect. Come on. So this piece here is number 1. It goes right there. You don't need it in the first bay because you're going to cut that rib out and the compression spar is there and the bell crank's there, so you can't do it. But you certainly can do it in the second bay. And that should fit in there. You could go all the way down the wing and close it all up, but I don't suggest it because it's not necessary. So after moving this rib, I've changed the angle on this, so I need to re-angle this. Need to take a little bit of the dangle out. Remember, do not glue these in yet. Julio, buenos tardes. Soy de Brazil. I don't speak, is that Portuguese or Spanish? If it's Portuguese, tell me and I'll translate it. Because I only understand a few words in that. Because I do not speak Portuguese. I speak 3 languages, English, Southern, and Profane. Okay. I guess I'll wait till after the show to translate it and answer you back. Okay, so this piece here. Yep. I didn't glue that back. I should have. It's glued right there. Gotta get that out of there. I don't want that glued in there yet. And as I stated, these pieces are very important to fit perfect. So if it takes a little adjustment, you don't want any force in it. 6 thumbs up. Yeah, I might recut that one. It ain't quite right. This was the piece that was, I suppose it'll be okay. See if this one's okay. Nope, it needs to be bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this piece here. Maybe that'll work there. Yeah. Take this piece here because that's the right angle for that. We'll use this piece over here. I mean, I'm not trying to save any material. I got plenty of material. But I'm trying to save time by the angles are already cut on it. But I don't like it. It's not square. Can't make up my mind today. If any of the ribs are going to be perfect, they need to be these center ones. Because this is where the load's at. Oh, come on. Should have known when I bumped it, it would screw up. If I break it, I'll break it on camera. That's what it looks like it's going to happen. Turn this heat off. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't know if I'm putting out any audio. I haven't seen one comment except for in Portuguese, and I don't speak Portuguese. Press 1 if you can hear me. Because I don't want to come back and find out I didn't have any audio. Except I don't know why somebody'd sit and watch this for an hour with no audio. Come on, break loose. It's right there, but I'm afraid I'm going to break it. There we go. Man, that was tough. Now I have another problem. I need to excavate a little bit out of the bottom and push that spar down. This was a mistake, live on camera. Got a rock there. I'm gonna stab myself. Come on, break out of there. That glue is hard. Well, there it is. Almost. Press 1 if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'll have to shut the show off. Let me translate what this Brazilian guy said in case I can't. In case you can't hear me. Oh, where's this mouse? Oh, shoot. I think it's Portuguese. ENGLISH2POR. And there we go, Brazil. Brazil, yes. Okay. Enter text, want to reverse it. Paste. Control V. Yeah. That can't be right. Try again. Control C. Control V. I'm from Brazil. Oh, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. I'm from Brazil, and their services, model aircraft are impeccable. Congratulations. Let's see. Go back. Obrigado. Obrigado. Do we have audio? Let me check audio here. YouTube. It's going to loop here for a second, but I can't help it because you guys won't get back to me. My videos, come on. God, this is slow. We're live now. Okay, we got audio. I guess we're broadcasting to other countries, and that's why nobody from over got to Control V. No, that ain't it. Aubrey, TATO. There we go. Took a minute to figure it out, but we got it. Okay, so L2 will get cut in here. Okay, now let's cut a piece of 3/16 for that. Now this doesn't have to. Okay, great. Buenas tardes. Emilio, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa? I don't think Emilio is from Brazil. Spain or something. I'm not sure. Emilio doesn't sound like a Spanish or Brazilian name, but I don't know. Okay, so let's figure out what we need here for height. It is 1.5. Now it's a little more than 1.5. 1 9/16. So we'll make us a piece 1 9/16. And for you guys that are not real sharp on reading ruler, that's one little mark past a 1/2 inch. If you're using a 1/16 inch scale. If you're using a 32nd scale, it's 2 marks past a 1/2. No, big smart ass. Try to cut it proud. Definitely leave the line on when you're doing this, because we're going to sand it to fit snugly. And I have said over and over again, always use a saw to cut cross grain, and here I'm doing it a different way. But I didn't want to mess with it. Got a hard spot in it. There we go. Okay. I know that's going to be tight, so we'll sand it first. Okay. So I need to sand an angle in it. Is it going to fit? See, shoot. See, it doesn't fit quite snugly. Damn. It does on that end, though. What the heck happened? Let's cut this off and see what happened. I think I ran awry there. Not to worry. I guess I got after the sandpaper a little too aggressive when I sanded it off. Okay, so a couple of swipes. Okay, it just fits in there. Argentina, but I live in Brazil. I can speak Spanish and Portuguese. Pero me no sé hablar en Portuguese. And I speak Mexican Spanish, which is Tex-Mex. I could have said to you, "Donde eres?" And you probably would understand. Okay, we have to get it cut down to a more reasonable shape, so it needs about a 1/4 inch cut off there. This rib that's the one I cut loose, so that's good. We'll glue it in with this. Doesn't need to be glued in right now, but I need to get this fitted. These are the fiddling stages right here. Let's see, it's gotta have another 1/16 off. But we'll only cut a 32nd. There we go. We're getting there. I'll start sanding that angle in it. So you have to sand an angle on it in order for it to meet the rib perfect. So we need to cut 32nd off. And I would have to say that these pieces right here that I'm putting in are probably the most important pieces next to the compression spar to keep the wing from folding up. So pay close attention to fit. So we're going to get a drop of this thick CA here so it doesn't wick down in there. I'm going to hold this over here like so. Put a little bit there. Hit it with the kicker. Perfect. Okay. So, look at the fits. These fits, how this fits into this spar is what keeps your wing from twisting. It's also what gives you the center section. And these, I got 3 more pieces to make. So we're going to go out. You know, some guys go out one bay past the landing gear. I found as long as you get the landing gear, the 2 landing gear included, you're fine. You damn sure don't need to go all the way to the end because there's nothing going on out on that end. When you make a corner, all the pressure's in the center. So you want, you know, that's got to be a foot. That's got to be 2 foot worth of spar, and that's all you need. Because as I stated before, the wing is the sum of the total. So not only are these little 3/16 spars carrying the load, the center sheeting and the leading edge sheeting, as long as the fits are tight, even the cap strips, they keep the wing from twisting, and all the shear webbing that goes on the trailing edge. Then after that's done, the silk span on top of that and the paint on top of that is all part of the load sharing experience of the wing. So if your fits are haphazard, you got a 1/4 inch glue joint, you got a bunch of epoxy slobbed in there. Not only is it heavy, it's not strong because it's not wood against wood, it's wood against glue. So practice on your fits. When I walk up to somebody's airplane and I see haphazard fits, I know they were asleep when they were building. Let's see here. You guys got any questions? Turn this around this way. Okay, so we need to make another piece, 1 9/16, but it's not 1 9/16, so it's going to be 1 and 1 19/32. And we'll sand from there. This ruler goes down to 64ths. You don't need to be that accurate. I don't even think you need to be within 32nd. I just leaving myself an extra 32nd of an inch sanding head. Let's get a saw and saw that. We're going to need this. Need to order some more number 22s. Boy, that's dope. That's a dull one. Oh, you know, this is a old piece of wood. Look at the label on that. Sig 4 to 6, $2.53 for 4" by 36. Probably double, triple that or whatever now. This piece of wood is probably 20 years old. But it'll see new life as an airplane. The last time I was at SIG, got to be at least 15. Okay. See, I left myself some headroom, and we have to sand it for a perfect fit, which is fine. Let's see how much I got to come off there. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. And it should fit in just like that. It's perfect when it just takes a little bit. If any of you guys are a mechanic, you can tell feeler gauge, how that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So I won't go into that. Anyway, so let's cut a piece off here. And first thing we'll do is make sure it's square to this. I won't need that again. That's some wood I brought from my house in St. Louis. So when I square something up, I just put the square on it, take the knife, run it. That way you know that this angle is perfect 90 degrees. So we'll mark it and then sand it to shape. I can't get it in there, so I have to eyeball it. Eyeball it and sand it. ¿Qué hora es aquí, Emilio? Or maybe it's ¿Qué hora zone? Son las 12:30 aquí. Dos y media. Man, we gotta cut 3/16 off it. So you cut it again. Well, there's a first. 8 watchers and 9 thumbs up. That's good. You guys must be got bored and left me. Still got to go another 1/8 of an inch. $16, so that's 12. So same time as here. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. No, you're an hour post midnight. Hour difference. Una hora. I can't see how it'd be 1609 and it's 2:40 here. That's kind of oddball. I thought everything was in hours, but seeing as it were different countries, it's possible. What do I know? I'm just a dumbass sailor. Okay. I can tell you this, you want these ribs, these landing gear ribs to fit perfect. Because that's where all the stress is. So you do whatever you got to do to make them joints absolutely 100% perfect. That'll be fine. Close enough. Can't believe that thing moved over again like that. Yeah, it did. I'm gonna have to doctor that up. It'll be fine. Two more pieces and then we can glue the sheeting on. It takes all damn day. Let's mark this out. Take this off. But at least I got something done today. I really hate not working because it costs me a lot of money not to work. So this video cost me $200 to make. That needs 8 more need to come off. Need a little more. Keep trimming. Remember, there's plenty of taking off tools, but not many putting on tools. So make sure you take the least amount of time as you can get. So we need a couple of swipes on the top of this. Yep, a little bit more. Yeah, Dennis, I'm in the middle of the day. Nothing going on at work today, so I came home and decided that I'd finish this wing up. We're going to have this wing together today. I have a lot of ground to make up on this airplane. I gotta start finishing next month. Okay, that fit in perfect. And one more piece and we'll glue the leading edge on. See? Perfect. So we need an angle on it. Yeah, I can tell you our economy is just booming right now with the new administration. I'll be lucky to have a job next month. Still not quite right. There we go. Okay, now mark it out. You could see, I mean, this could be done. This could be done no problem with the sheeting on it, but it makes it a whole lot easier to do it this way. So, yep, I'll be lucky to have a job this year. Work has dwindled to shit. And we need to take 64th off. Now, as long as your fits were perfect or whatever, you could make this spar out of 16th inch if it was a D-tube. 3/32 for sure. And that might be a little lighter, but I wouldn't be as much at ease as I am with this setup. Okay, we got it. All right. Let's see here where we at. Shear webbing goes from here. These two ribs are the landing gear clips. Goes to the outside of that. Make sure that your fits are perfect. If they're not perfect, no guarantees on folding up. So now that you got that done, oh yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Mark these. So we're gonna go. Just take a ballpoint pen and mark 1, 2, 3. You know, from the center out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm glad I caught myself, made these before I put the sheeting on. So now you take them back out. All of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got that one in there good. 6. Okay. All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Set these aside. Don't lose them. You'll regret it because it. Yes, you can do what I just did, but it takes 3 times as long to do it. Okay, so now you're going to take out the shims out of your cradle. Make sure the cradle's clear. And like I said, before I recut those pieces, what I do is there's a center line inside the sheeting and a center line on the ribs. If you look here, I just put it in there. They don't match. Well, make them match. Pull it up there and put it on the line. Tack it. Come to the other end. Drop the tack inside here. If you did your job right, all the marks should line up. Okay, it's just tacked on now. We don't have any warps in it, so that's good. Now, in Bob Hunt's video, and don't get me wrong, Bob Hunt is the king of this wing. He's the designer of it. He likes to take the other cradle and weight all this stuff up inside here and all that. You know, it's great for him. I don't do it that way because it's too slow, waiting for white glue to dry and all this other stuff. All I do is look inside there, make sure that all my marks are lined up with that center line. And everything's fitting tight. Oops. Let me switch angles here with my mouse. So, sight down the trailing edge. Make sure it's straight. Mine has a little hump this way, which is okay. I can sand that out, no problem. It's only out, I don't know, not much. We'll see if we can sand it right now. Before I go any farther, I'll sand it, make sure I can get it out. Otherwise, I'd have to sand it off. Let's see here. Nice long straight edge. And switch back to this view. It's out of Oh, that happened. Out a little bit. If I wasn't paying attention. There we go. We got it. The only thing this does is to make sure the flaps work correctly. Because if you've got the hinges in a position where one is, you know, not in perfect line with the other one, the hinge is fine. So this is, you know, thinking ahead. That's why my tagline, finish starts with the first piece of wood cut. Each piece is the sum of the total. So you have to, before you go any farther, make sure that you got it right. You know, if I couldn't get it right, I might have to build another wing half. But this wasn't out very far. 30 seconds maybe. And that could have been just a warped piece of wood that did that. Okay, I got it in line. That's good. That was 320, so I didn't take much material off of it. You know, like I said, it was very minuscule, but my eye could pick it up that, you know, it had a slight crown to it. So now I'll look at it again. That looks pretty good. Looks real good. I'll start tacking it some more. So put it back in the cradle where it goes. And I just hold tension on it and I start tacking them up. Tack there, tack there. Tack there. Now you could twist your wing real easy from here, from this position. So you want to make sure that the trailing edge is down in the cradle. I mean, you could still get it out with those pieces that we made, but now I've just tacked the one side. So I'm going to hold it in my hand, eyeball it again. Make sure it's straight. Make sure we got no hoops in the leading edge. It looks good. What I'm looking at here is I'm making sure the trailing edge is down in the cradle and I'm holding the sheeting down and making sure that all the rib touches all the way around, and now we're going to glue it. That made that area strong. Make sure it's still straight, which it is. And I think I'll get the other cradle. We'll turn it over and do it in the other cradle. And then once I get this tacked in, I'll take it out and detail glue it. And I'll show you that. So we're going to do the same thing on the tip. We got to make sure that everything's touching. That looks good. Like, subscribe, share, super chat. Whatever. Remember, this video cost me $200 today to make. What else would I be doing though? I don't drink, don't go to bars, don't shoot pool, don't gamble. I don't smoke except for my vapor thing anymore. So I'm kind of stuck. So what Hunt does is he takes the leading edge cradle and he turns it up here. You know, it's only this wide. And he weights it down and glues it in with white glue on top of the spar. As I stated, I don't find that. I mean, if you got the table and you got the room and you got the time, that's probably a good way to do things. But I don't have the room. I don't have the table. He does. He's got a beautiful shop. I mean, it's small, but John's got a super shop. My shop in St. Louis ain't bad, but it doesn't. The table, I need to rethink, see if I can make a table as big as John's. Because my table in St. Louis is 72 inches long and only 3.5 foot wide, or 3 foot wide. Okay, we got the sheeting glued on this now. Now you think we're done. Nope. We got to make the shear webbing for the trailing edge and detail glue this, but I'll detail glue it after I make the sheeting for the trailing edge. And after the sheeting's in, then we can put these shear webs in and glue them in. After the shear webs for the trailing edge, we can put the shear webs for the leading edge in. And everything's still straight. You can tell by where it sits in the cradle, as long as it's not bowed or whatever. So let's get that other cradle. Okay. Yep. That's just good. Pretty happy about it. Let's trim this off first, I guess. You want to leave quite a bit on here. You don't want to trim it too close because you want this sheeting perfect. So we'll cut that much off. And, yep, left. I have made mistakes and cut this too short before, and it's kind of a disaster because this is part of your strength here, this joint. Okay, you see how much I left on there? I left a lot on there. Well, we'll sand it right down to the rib, because this rib, the way that this is put together like a foam wing, is this butt joints to the other half, and this has to be perfect. I need that bigger block. That's 320. Well, I can't. Oh, there it is. Remember, if you're doing it hard, it ain't right. You ain't doing it right. We'll leave a little bit there for adjustment, because that has to be hand fit as well to the other half. Otherwise, you'll end up with dihedral in the wing or whatever. When I put these together, I pinned this rib to the other center rib so that it was parallel to the bench. Hopefully we got it right. But if you leave it a little long, you have room for adjustment. This one's flush. This is not flush. Not flush. And we do the same thing on the tip. I will just cut this with a knife. It should cut easy, hopefully. Any questions on lost foam building? You'll notice here I left the 3/16 spar long. It's sticking out probably 1/8 of an inch. That's so when I sand this all down flush, it all becomes flush at the same time. Looks like it could have stress fractured there. Yep, it did. That was 80 grit. This is 320. Now, with this half done, let's take a look and see how they made up to the other half. Thank you, Brad. Got a $10 super chat from Fred. Now that wing half there will end up just like this one. And we'll end up joining them together. Oh, don't break. Like so. So basically, building it this way is just like building a foam wing, because a foam wing, you sheet the wing and you glue the two halves together. Well, that's all we're done here. So the small pieces make it a whole lot easier to handle, especially in a little tiny room like I'm working in here. Now they're not ready to be joined yet, but I want to make sure that they are going to be perfect. And don't cut your sheeting back, this sheeting here, until you get this glued on. That way, the sheeting lines will match perfect. So when I glue it together, I'll stick a pin, a straight pin in right there, and a straight pin down at the wingtip, put a straight edge on it, and cut this piece off right here. And then it'll be a perfect match to this side. And believe it or not, all these things that I'm showing you shows up when it's sitting on the flight line. I can tell how it was built when I look at it sitting on the flight line. Unless, of course, it's got a gallon of urethane on it. And then I got to look through the urethane to see what the hell going on. You guys may pound on the urethane, but I definitely will see it. I apologize for asking you already. Mentioned, what aircraft is this one? I have not been connected lately. This one here is my second Nats plane for this year. It's going to be a Continental XL because I sold my big Continental to Tom Reedman, and he might stop by today. And I want to replace that airplane because that airplane flew really well, but it needed a few changes. So the changes are getting made now. So every airplane I build is just I don't know, it's a cosmetic change, and it may be a number change depending on how the airplane reacts. One thing I'll guarantee you, though, that if you're building electrics, you can feel that brick in the nose. That brick in the nose is ridiculous. And it's the same with a piped airplane. I can feel that pipe slung underneath the wing. Because centrifugal force is trying to make everything line up. And unless that pipe could be on the center line of the wing or at the center line of where the bell crank mounts, so it would have to go out and way around, and you could feel it. And even as such, to add that extra 3 ounces to the nose of it, you can really feel it. really feel it. That's 3 ounces less than 2 ounces extra fuel that it takes to run a 75. So that's 8 ounces to the nose. So I'm going to put a PA 75 in this one, but it's going to have a CAS muffler on it. It's going to be tucked up. The fuel tank is shoved all the way back in the wing. I don't have an extension on this, and I probably should have, but we'll see how it goes. It's pretty short coupled, so I can finish this fairly well, and not worry about the center of gravity moving so far back. But it has to be light because I'm using narrow flaps, and on the other one it had wide flaps. And you say, well, what difference does that make? The heavier the airplane, the more flap you need. But the airplanes don't fly well off flap. So when you give up, the flap acts as an air brake. It kind of mushes around the corner and then goes up. When you have less flap and more tail movement on a light airplane, it'll go around the corner a lot sharper because you're not throwing out the drag anchor. So I'm sure that some aeronautical engineer such as Brett Buck, Ted Fancher, Paul Walker, them guys could tell me I'm wrong, but I know I'm right because I fly the airplanes. I can feel the difference. I can see the difference. When I'm watching your airplane go over the top and it's sagging lines and crabbing sideways and puking its guts out, I know darn well it ain't flying right. An airplane should be taut on the end of the lines. Hence, that's why I run 3 degrees motor offset. Everybody else says, no, you got to run 0. But then they're raking the lines way back, so the airplane's flying in a crab. My theory on control line stunt airplanes and design is exactly like setting up a sprint car. We ran sprint cars when I was younger. And sprint cars have pitch, wedge, and stagger. And they all go around to the left. And so what we're doing here is we're running pitch, wedge, and stagger. And nobody seems to build them into their airplane. So if you were to let one of my airplanes go, it's going to fly, well, it'll bank left and down. It'll just roll left and down. If it had no lines on it, it would go left and down. And you say, why? Well, torque of the motor and the 1-inch asymmetry in the wing and the 3 degrees motor offset, every action equal opposite reaction. So if the motor's right, well, it might go left. Let's see here. No, it'll go right. It'll pull right because the left wing is going to create lift, so it'll bank up. So that's going to cause it to go down, and the motor's going to pull it right into the ground. So it should roll right into the ground. And we're using the centrifugal force as the pitch. That's where the stagger of the lines comes in. You know, I try to set my airplanes up so that from the pivot point of the bell crank to the center of the lead outs should line directly up with a wingtip weight box. That way everything's not trying to, you know, when it's centrifugal force is on it, it's all staying straight. It's not trying to line up and go crazy like that. These are just my thoughts. They could be entirely 100% wrong. And the only reason why I haven't won the nationals or been in the top 5 is I don't have time to practice. I know damn well I could do it if I got out there and flew a pallet of fuel, but I just don't have the time for it. Or I'm not that dedicated to flying. It's really not that enjoyable if you ask me, especially in the Midwest where it's hot and muggy, sitting out in the sun all day long, flight after flight, really not going anywhere. So after 3 flights in a day, I'm done. That's enough for me. When I flew the Nats this year, I think I only had 9 flights for the year. So hopefully this year, this coming nationals, I'll have a buttload more in. I'm going to try to have more in. Okay, let's get this wing up here and this other wing up here and see how it lines. That way at least I can get an eyeball on things. Normally what I do with these wing cradles is I tape them to the bench. I'm not going to do that right now because I still got some other work to do, but I want to see where I'm at as far as alignment goes. I think we're close just by when I held them up there. They look pretty good. I taped the 2 cradles together. Put the 2 wing halves in. Where are we at here? We got kind of a gap. What's going on here? So where do I got to sand? Looks like I got to sand right here. Let's just hold it there like that and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit of, got to sand the trailing edge on this side. That maybe a little bit more. think I have to sand the bottom a little bit. Yep. Turn it over. Yep. Got a little rock sticking out there is the problem. Let's try that. A little rock right, a little bit right in there. Come on, you. You can see that joint came together real nice. Now, hopefully, the top came together real nice too. Got a little bit. The last inch on this right here needs a little bit more tweaking. It's about as good as we're going to get it, I think. We'll point this camera down and see if you can see it. Maybe, no, you won't be able to. I'll try it like this. Oh, crap. Hello. Hey, you guys, I don't know who you're trying to get a hold of, but I've had like 5 calls looking for Sierra. Sierra doesn't live at this number. I've had it 15 years. So please don't call again.
So you're not here on Oregon Avenue?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for your time. You have a good day.
Bye. Gee. Okay, you look at that joint right there. That's what you want. Perfect. Now we need to turn it over, adjusting until it's perfect. Ooh, man, I broke it. Broke that rib. So what it looks to me like is that I need to take evenly off both sides on the bottom maybe 10 thousandths. I better wait to glue that because that's part of the shear web. Let's see here. So that's one. That's one. Got to make sure that gets back in there right. Damn. Okay, that's where that goes. Won't move now. Okay. So, before I was rudely bothered by some knucklehead looking for Sierra. If you look here at this crack, it's probably a 32nd of an inch gap. With that, that probably won't matter. It's not even a 32nd. It's you know, a few thousandths, because we're going to put epoxy in that gap, so it'll leave it a little room for epoxy, I suppose. It'll be fine. But you want to sight down it, or pin it together, or clamp it together. Sight down it, make sure that the wing is straight. No, it's not. There's no gap there. So I don't want to sand any, and I'm gonna have to block sand the whole trailing edge to get it perfect. It's close, but it ain't quite perfect. I need to block that long. I need a 6-foot block to make it perfect. Okay, so we're all right with the with that. Now let me show you how I'm going to make the sheeting match. I can do that now because we know it goes together right there like that. So what I do is I stick a pin right where that joint is, T-pin, and come out to the tip. Stick a pin. And we get the meter stick. Where's the knife? Then there it is. Voila, they match perfect. And you do that on the other side as well. That way, and I also cut my sheeting and glue it together in one piece for both sides, and then put that in one piece. I don't put in a piece and then another piece. I put it all in one piece, you know, with the curves in it, or whatever you call them, the fairings. That way it fits perfect. Perfect is good. Let's flip it over and cut the other side. And I'll show you how to make those shear webs, and we'll call this video a day. It's been on 2 hours. And unless you guys enjoy what I'm doing, I got 18 watchers. I wish this was more interactive so that any of the questions that you have, I can answer right away. Because like I've said, this is not rocket science. This is real simple stuff. You know, they tried to keep all this stuff a secret for so many damn years. Why? Because I can show people how to do this a million times. I don't mean that. Shoot, I had that pin in the end there. Readjust. There it is. Okay. Anybody got a guess on the weight of this wing? What do you think it weighs right now? We'll weigh it up here as soon as I get this cut off. We gave a wing away on the last one, but don't expect me to be giving one of these away. Oh. No answer? What does it weigh? We'll put it on the scale right now. Let's see how astute you guys have been in my building videos. I give the weights away of everything. Take the trash out, starting to smell. Okay. Let's see if we're on track for my weight. Any guesses? No guesses? Okay, going once. Give me a guess. What do you think it weighs? I see them guys on the forum. I got my wing down to 13 ounces. Oh boy. Nope. I won't keep you guys in suspense. It weighs 4.65 ounces. You don't believe me? Well, I'll turn the camera in on that. Hopefully you can see it. .65. And it will be every bit as strong as any other wing, even though it weighs 4.65 ounces. Nope, Fred, 4.65, but thanks. I wish it was 3. The wing all together, when I get the tips on it, let's see, 4.65. Let me give you a guess where it's going to be complete. So we'll say 5 ounces, 5.5, 6.5, 8.5. This wing will be 9 ounces with tips, with weight box, with flaps, with hinges and horns and a bell crank. 9 ounces. Should be real close to that. I try to shoot for 10 finished every time, but the wood in this airplane was a little bit better than choice. I mean, I have a whole pile of wood. What I do with my wood is I select the first airplane's wood, the second airplane's wood, and the third airplane's wood. The wood in this airplane is the wood from number 2 and the new load of number 1 wood. So it's like a 1.5 airplane. So that's where I'm at in the wood pile, because I didn't have extra premium wood when I started this. Been almost a year ago that I started this. I started this about just a little after the Tucker. I started finishing the Tucker. Maybe it hasn't been a year. I don't know. I don't know how long it's been. I know it's been a while. I have to go back and look and see when I first started dreaming this one up. But I have a lot of parts cut for it, made for it. I mean, at home in St. Louis on the hump, I could finish this thing in a week. But I don't have the time to finish it in a week here. I can only work on it an hour a day. Today I had off, so decided to work on it. We got 2.5 hours in. I'm going to take a break. When I come back at 7, my normal time, I'll do the shear web that's in this wing. You see it in this wing here. All this shear webbing here. And we'll go ahead and finish that. And I'm going to try to glue it together tonight and cut the slots for the compression spar. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to cut the compression spar. We'll try. But the compression spar lays in on top right here. I think we'll make this one 3/4 instead of 1 inch. I usually make them 1 inch, but I'm trying to cut back more on a diet to leave wood off. So I'll make it 3/4 instead of 1 inch. We'll give that a try, and hopefully the wing don't fold up. Shouldn't, because some of the total is some of the whole is, it all works together. As long as the joints are tight and you don't get any racking, it should be all right. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream. 2.5 hours is plenty. I got to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to eat dinner and maybe sit down for a bit and watch a little TV, and I'll be back at 7 o'clock. So we'll see you then. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.